Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Developing Dads podcast. We're on episode 91, which is, tantalizingly close to the good old 100. I've been moved. Neil commented on how low my quality of my current stream, certainly from a YouTube perspective. If you even upload onto YouTube these days, why is life so busy at the moment? But we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I'm sat in my bed doing the old school handheld version, which is, because apparently Laura's work's laptop can only charge in a certain position, and that is on my desk in the spare room. So here we are, Gordon scrambling around trying to get set up and organised. But either way, yes, we are on episode 91 of the Developing Dads podcast. It's like nearly been 2 years since we started this silly little conversation, which continues to feel pretty remarkable that we're at this stage and somehow managed to survive to this point. We did have a conversation in last week's episode where we kind of, the ideas to come up with things and talk about stuff is always quite a challenge, to be perfectly honest, because, there's only so many dad shit you can talk about, right?
And we don't have a team behind us. Like, we don't have people writing scripts.
We don't have a team.
Researchers.
No, do it all ourselves, Neil. I mean, for all the 30 listeners, I'm not sure it warrants an entire script writing team. But, that'd be nice, maybe when we're billionaires. But we did talk about how the fact that we don't have to necessarily come up with ideas, we shouldn't force ourselves to. So even tonight, we're just going completely blind. I did have some thoughts because I've had two full days caring for... Well, she's my daughter, looking after her. I mean, should be able to do that. But taking the reins on parenthood and just, doing 2 full days, looking after Olivia, holding down the fort, doing all that kind of stuff, which, again, I should be capable of doing. But it is a full-time job. You get up at 6 a.m. and you don't go to bed. You don't stop until they go to bed, which is 7:30. But we'll get into that. I've got some cool highlights, certainly, for the last 2 days. Either way, we always catch up on the Developing Dads podcast. We like to ask each other how we're getting on, because it's good to have a conversation with someone, right? Especially when it's your little brother. So, Neil, I hope you've had I hope you've got something interesting to talk about. I hope it's not going to be just a case of, I was working.
I think I tune out now. Because I don't know how good this episode's going to be, but we'll see how we get on. Again, doesn't need to be 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, whatever.
Also, people are just here for the vibes, Neil. Like, we're funny guys. Well, I'm funny. You're not very funny.
Scottish accents.
Maybe that is exactly what they're here for.
Maybe.
Anyway, how was your... When did we talk last time? Sunday, didn't we?
Friday. It's only been like a weekend.
It's not been that long. Did you... Hey, that was a good point, actually. Did you go for those pints?
He came over to my house and we had beers.
How many?
4 and 2 glasses of wine.
It's got an edge.
Yeah.
A slight edge to that, isn't it?
Some red wine as well. So bed by midnight. Yeah, it was a bit prickly.
Why didn't they just come over and you made muffins and sat and had a cup of tea?
It's not the same. And he did.
Why is he boring, or are you really boring and he was covering it up?
He brought some nice Brewdog beer that just released that week. It's an Oktoberfest collaboration. Very nice.
That's in Lidl or Aldi.
Aldi, yeah, it's Aldi exclusive. So he picked up some of that. So yeah, I couldn't resist. Just had to have the beers. But yeah, that was a good start to the weekend. But most of it, I mean, it's just, it's getting darker at nights. The weather's been minging, rain, wind, and it's just like autumn is in full swing. So it's a bit of a chilled weekend. Still did the park run. So this is now the 3rd week in a row we've done the junior park run with the kids, 2.5k around the local park, which they absolutely love. And we took them to, it'd be interesting to see if you've heard of this. It's like a new 21st century thing of a bike pump park. Have you heard of a bike pump park?
No, Neil.
No.
This sounds like some weird.
Think of it as a skate park, but it's just like rolling up and down tarmac. Some are very steep, some are slightly...
Oh, this is BMX racing.
Yeah,
that's
so...
what a pump park is.
Yeah, a pump park. Anyway, there's one that's been built near us, which is really cool, and I took the kids to it. I think I had more fun than the kids, but the kids had an enjoyable time. I took my bike, they took theirs. And yeah, it's just like getting their confidence up of going down steep hills and then riding them up and down and going around berms or whatever you call them. That was pretty cool. Bit of a highlight. They're definitely getting better on their bikes. One of my dad friends, he takes his kids mountain biking, like proper off-road mountain biking. So might be something I do one day with my boys and Isla.
I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to do downhill mountain biking. And
Yeah,
stuff,
I remember that.
BMXing and all that.
I used to be. I remember the jumps we used to have in the field.
Yeah,
and the big rolling. That was really cool. So yeah, just like a standard family time, and then back to work. My boss is back now. She was off for 3 or 4 weeks, so it's quite nice to have some support. And yeah, as I say, it's like, I don't know how you feel, but autumn's here. Darker nights. Got dark at like 7 o'clock. It's a bit rubbish.
Yeah, I guess so. I think on that point in particular, like we've kind of scheduled in, like I've got Laura's birthday next week. So
Wow.
hey, if you guys, if any of the 2.5 listeners have been waiting to find out what we do for Laura's birthday, then hopefully you'll find out either next week or the week after. So maybe episode 92 or 93. We might somehow, Neil, have to squeeze one in before I go, because it's going to be a heavy weekend wherever we're going. But yeah, I guess it is kind of settling in. But we've kind of I think sometimes back ending your holidays.
Yeah, it's got a benefit to it.
You know, so we're going Laura's thing, then we've booked Dubai at the end of November, start of December, which we're very much looking forward to. That's going to be a cool family holiday, and
it's going to be nice weather out there. Miserable in England.
Yeah, it's going to be good weather. You know, probably like mid to late 20s. You know, it's going to be nice, and then hanging out with some friends. It's going to be a full 10 days. You know, I don't think I've had a 10-day holiday in a long time. And maybe I'll try and actually take a holiday and not take my laptop, but that's unlikely. But at least I probably won't work very much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of settling in, isn't it? The temperature changed definitely today. You know, I was out with Olivia and it was definitely a colder time than it would have previously.
Yeah.
You know, because the week before it was like 32 degrees most days. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Mad. Anyway, how's your kind of weekend been? What did you get up to?
So we've got these 3 other guys that we play poker every quarter or so, and we hadn't caught up for like over a year, so we had plenty to talk about. So we usually cook dinner, and then we had some drinks, and then we play poker, and then this time we also tied in a game of golf the next day. So it was nice to catch up with all of them, because they've had lots of life things going on. Like, one's come back, one of them's trying to sort out his life, generally speaking. You know, he's not got a baby, he's got married, he doesn't own a property. So he's going through that kind of rigmarole of, what do I do, where do I buy, how do I buy it? You know, just stuff. And I think him in particular as well, he took a whole year to go traveling. And I think, and often we kind of look at what other people are doing and how they're doing it to be able to sort of indicate what state, where are we in life? Yeah, where are we in life? Are we achieving? Are we not achieving? Are we winning? Are we losing? Who knows? And sometimes it doesn't kind of work like that. You know, if you're just trying to get the world to tell you if you're successful, rather than you telling yourself whether you're successful, it's kind of it's a self-defeating prophecy.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you're just chasing other people's dreams, other people's aspirations.
Yeah, exactly. So to me the thing was, it's kind of like this just stage of life where it's like, well, everyone else has got a house, everyone else has got a baby, everyone else is married, but I'm not. Or I've only ticked off one of those buckets. I should have ticked off like 3 of them. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we've kind of gone into the old stuff about like our fathers had less opportunity than we did. And they had more opportunity than their fathers, and so forth and so on. You know, back even from our mum and dad, maybe back to our grandfathers. If you think about how much stuff, how many jobs and careers and ways you can make money and even entertain yourself now.
Yeah.
Whereas previously it would have been either how far you could walk, maybe how far you could drive, maybe how far you could get public transport, or how much money you'd earn. And ultimately that was going to be dictated by the sort of the general island or space that you live in.
Yeah.
Quite far. So I think there's just more. There's also probably more stuff like, there's so many infinite other things you can do than have kids.
And
Infinitely other things you can do than buy a house.
the life expectancy is also obviously increased on generation. So that's why people are generally having kids later. They're kind of setting up their career. They're doing career travel stuff first, and then doing kids. I mean, when our parents had kids, and Mum was pretty young, Dad was a bit older. I kind of followed the trend of the older generation of having kids young, but certainly nowadays it's like mid-30s, I think, onwards. It's kind of traditional to have kids.
Yeah, I think there's just more things to do than just have kids, right? And there's, the difficulty thing is certainly with kids is you don't really know what it's like until you have one.
Yeah.
Not really. Like, you get a good understanding of it. But you can easily go and try some things out with it being very non-committal, right?
Yeah.
Whereas kids is committal.
Yeah, there's no going back.
Nah. You're when you become a dad, you're a dad forever. Even if you give them up.
So what would your advice be if someone's going through that, a listener, the 2.5 that are still here? If they've got married, did a bit of traveling, they've maybe not got a career yet, or they have a career, but should they settle down? How do you even start?
The first thing I think I'd start with is the idea that we're all in a rush for some reason to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Why? There was this discussion I was having with Laura about, if she takes time off having had kids, or let's say she has kids and takes time off. There's still, when she gets back and the kids go to school, let's say they go to secondary school, Laura's still only 42, 43.
Yeah.
Like, you've still got 25 years left of your career.
Yeah. It's mad.
Like, that's longer than you've had your current career.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, well, sure, but what rush are you in? You can take the time off if we can afford it. You can do what you want to do. Those kind of things. If that's a discussion, we haven't had that discussion necessarily. So it's the same thing at that age. It's like, you're 20, 29, maybe 30. As a bloke, you've still got your whole life ahead of you in terms of whether you can have kids or not. So you've got whenever. Even then, if your wife is still also the same age as you, she's still got 5 years before she becomes even close to a geriatric mum. So there's plenty of time on that. Buying a house, again, like, you don't have to buy a house.
Yeah, it's very UK. I mean, if you look at Europe, it's not a traditional thing in Europe to do.
And then it's like you flip it on its head and you say, okay, well, I can have a career after I've had kids, so it's 25 years. I can buy a house pretty much any time in your life if you want one, or if you can afford to have one. But there's only so much time you have to go traveling. There's only so much health you have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That would be my advice. So essentially it's like, why are you in such a rush to get anywhere? What's the thing that your 80-year-old self would tell you?
Yeah.
I guess that kind of starts there.
Yeah. I think, we've mentioned this a few times on different podcasts, but like, comparison is the thief of joy. And I think people that are seeing their friends settle down and get the house, have the babies, I certainly kind of feel a bit, I don't know, I feel, especially some people might think I've rushed things, but I've got my 3 kids, they're now in school, I've got my house. I find that single friends and colleagues that are single and are trying to get in the dating game, and they're just like, why can't I find somebody? I'm going to do this Tinder thing where I do 3 dates a week, just try and process of elimination. I feel that they're kind of looking at me and thinking, we're the same age. Why has he done that and I haven't? And it's like, yeah, you need to think about.
Maybe you don't want to.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you don't want to, and that's okay. Yeah. And I don't have any judgment for that. Like, I'm like, oh, fair play. Like, that's what you want to do. And I think so many of us jump to looking at what other people are doing, and then allowing that to be a default or defining path of what's expected. So the world's telling me what I should do, rather than me telling myself what I want to do.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. It doesn't matter. It's fine. If you don't want to buy a house, don't buy a house.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a sidetrack. How was the meal?
There is one thing I want to pick up on. You said comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Do you also suggest that people should be grateful
Absolutely.
or practice gratefulness.
Yeah.
So how can you
Gratitude.
be grateful without comparison?
If I'm grateful for my cup of coffee in the morning, what am I comparing it against?
Not having a coffee,
Okay.
or people that don't have coffee.
I'm not comparing it against people who don't have coffees. I'm just grateful for that moment of I've got a coffee.
But how can you be grateful for something there's no comparison? Like if you didn't have a coffee and you were in war-torn Ukraine right now, that gives you an opportunity to have a benchmark of like what's better and what's worse. So your life is better having had having coffee in your nice warm home, doing it the way you want to do it, right?
Yeah, I do see your point. I do see that some people might go down that route. But in my head, I'm just grateful for the coffee.
Yeah, I don't mind the gratefulness. That's the bit. It's just that kind of quote of the idea that comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying when I'm talking about someone who's comparing their life and saying, you know, that's what I should be following and that's what I should be doing. Because it's okay to compare in certain situations. It's just a reaction to the comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like I don't sit there and go, Jeff Bezos has got a $1 billion yacht. Why don't I have one? Because that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I also look at comparison and think, that's interesting. He's gone down that route and they've made that money and done that thing. Wow, that's pretty cool. Like, what can I look at my life and go, well, are there adjustments that I could make that could potentially accelerate me into that? It doesn't push me into like a glass half empty. It pushes me in a glass half full because I'm like, there's potential out there, right?
Yeah, I think there's probably as a small portion of the population, I think the majority of people compare themselves to the people that are driving the Ferraris, people that are wearing the Rolexes, and that kind of starves them of joy, is I guess where the quote's going.
Maybe, yeah.
I think we're a bit unique in terms of our... Like I definitely compare myself in order to improve. So one day I'll run this ultra marathon, but I look at people that are running like Africa, for example. There's this guy, he's a ginger geezer. I can't remember what his title on Instagram is.
I've seen this.
Yeah, but he's basically running the length of Africa, and he's currently going through the Congo, which is under like militia something, I don't know, a coup or something. But he motivates me because he's running like 50 miles a day. And I'm comparing myself against him to try and gather that motivation to go out on my run. And yeah, so I do see your point.
So I lost the poker, if anyone's interested. I went out first. Unfortunate. I'm usually pretty good, but in this case, not so good. Cards weren't good.
Like I've never played poker in my life. Do you just sit out and wait for the rest of the game to finish?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that didn't go too well. Then we played golf the next day, and this is another topic we can probably delve into. Is, you know, doing something that I'm not very good at, or I'm the worst of the four people that are playing. Neil's nodding essentially to suggest that that's an unusual situation for Gordon Greenhorn to be in.
Yeah, he normally you normally do things in a group that you're good at, like bodybuilding, weightlifting.
Usually. So I didn't snap any clubs in half, thankfully. I almost did because
How many balls did you load?
got annoyed. A lot. Probably 10.
Wow.
I'd say close to.
You're saying £2 a ball or something?
How, Neil?
£1 a ball.
Nah, it's not £2 a ball. Less than £1.
Okay.
How do you lose them? Well, have you played golf, Neil?
I've been to a driving range.
Right. So how straight was every time you hit the ball?
Yeah, not great. And I always
Right.
find, like, how do you follow the ball in the air? It's tiny.
Okay. And on a driving range, you've got nets, right? Okay, so catches the ball for you. Now, just imagine either those nets are trees or water.
Yeah.
Now you get the idea that if you don't hit it straight, the ball's going in the trees and you ain't going hunting after that.
Do you try, or do you just give up and say,
Sometimes I do, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, screw it, who cares? But it's good. Like it does one of two things for me. First of all, it makes me think about what I'm doing, like quite closely. Like I'm analyzing, how am I like swinging? How am I doing it? What's going on? It makes me concentrate. And then it also makes me think about how my mind is working in that situation. So if I shank a shot and it's terrible and, people are watching or whatever else, it's like, well, how do I react to this? And if I continue to have a bit of a strop and I'm not doing it very well and I just, whatever, each shot just gets worse.
Yeah.
But what you've got to do is like, okay, well, this didn't work out, right? Compose myself, go through the rhythm and the process again, strike the ball. And inevitably, sometimes it doesn't work out. So that's the kind of thing I'm quite enjoying about it. One thing I would say is I quite like, so I've been playing with one of the guys, Harry, just me and him. His individual tutelage has been very good. It's much more difficult to do that when he's playing his own game and there's like 2 other people as well, so there's 4 of us. So I think I quite enjoy it as a pair rather than necessarily a large group, just because I get individual sort of nurturing.
Yeah, that's fair.
From Harry.
Have you thought about getting kind of professional?
I have, but I have enough overheads.
Fair. I can imagine it's quite expensive.
Yeah, I guess it is, but I think I'm okay just kind of swinging away and then playing with a mate every so often.
Yeah.
At the moment, I probably would want to get into it a bit more, but mate, it's like having kids.
Yeah.
Just non-stop.
There's no time or money for you.
So then we had, and then also I'm a Fulham fan now, so I've got to pay for tickets to go to Fulham, right? So it's like, what do I stop paying for?
Yeah, what's the priority?
Then we had a little bit of a breakfast brunchy thing on the Sunday, which was quite nice with some friends. We went into theirs. They just had a new baby, so it was kind of like catching up with them, saying hello and just doing you're part of parenthood now kind of thing, where you meet up with other people who are parents, right? So that was nice. And then I did a bit of work on Sunday afternoon, because I had to catch up, because this week and next week I'm kind of Olivia goes to grandparents Monday night and Tuesday night, and she comes back on Wednesday night. So Denise takes a huge burden off of our shoulders for us to be able to work, and I take her on a Monday. So I've added an extra day to my week. So I'm looking after Monday, Tuesday, and then she's going to nursery Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So an extra day at nursery. And she's doing the same next week. So I had to do a bit of work on Sunday to sort of catch up. And on Monday, we had a nice day actually. What did we do on Monday? We went to soft play. So I've been meeting up with my with the ladies.
Your mum friends?
Right. My mum friends. So I met with my mum friend. She's got a new little one. And she's also got her son, Henry, is this exact same age. He was born the same day as Olivia.
Nice.
So they're sort of baby twins, but they're obviously not mine. Both. And that'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be a Daily Mail headline. And so yeah, we went to soft play, which is just bonkers. Obviously, because, just...
Is Olivia at the age now where you can let her just go? Or have you got to still...
No, yeah, she definitely just goes and does her own thing. Like, she's over 2 now.
Okay.
So you just kind of watch her, right? That's kind of... You just got you've got the parent side eye.
That's a good age.
Right? She's fantastic, yeah. Like, I get an absolute kick out of going with her. And then we did a bit of food shopping, and then today, because I'd cleared my diary and I'd no calls or anything to do, I was like, let's take Olivia to the Natural History Museum.
Nice.
So, Natural History Museum, if for anyone who doesn't know, is in London. It's totally free. They've got dinosaurs. They've got big fossil things. They've got stuffed polar bears and lions and pandas and all sorts of other bits and pieces and insects and all sorts. And it's in a very luscious, beautiful building. It's huge. It's amazing. And I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of like, is this 2-year-old going to enjoy this? Because, she doesn't even know her left foot from her right foot yet.
Yeah, let alone a dinosaur.
However, it was amazing. Totally amazing.
Yeah.
I had to guide it, and there's something about parent energy that I kind of want to probably tap into in this conversation, but there was a big sort of woolly mammoth skeleton. And we went over to it, and I was just like, "Wow! Look at the horns, and look at the feet." And she was just like, "Oh my word!"
Emphasizing everything.
And just Yeah, just, she really sort of, and she went backwards and forwards between that and like a dinosaur thing, and then she went over to the giraffe, and then it was all just running around because it's such a big space. And then we went to the dinosaurs, and we saw that there's a mechanical T-Rex thing they've got there. And she was
Nice.
like, T-Rex, look at the tail, And it was just, I don't know. It's kind of like it's weird where I feel like I want to cry with happiness and joy and pride all at the same time, just wandering around with her, just having this, just an amazing, it was just an amazing time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how simple it is, but yeah, how much fun it was having a new experience there. Because I don't think I'd been there since probably like 8 or 10 years.
There's a great one in Edinburgh, very similar to that one, like Big Dinosaur.
Yeah, there is a very good one. Yeah. And it was just fantastic to walk around with her, and then we sat and had lunch. And I remember when we went to London with my mum, I'm pretty sure we went to the Natural History Museum. I'm pretty sure I sat in a cafe and I ate a sugar cube, I think. But I just remember sitting in probably the same cafe, and now I'm sat with my daughter,
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah, there was all that kind of stuff. And that was just, today was just particularly, it was just, yeah, it was phenomenal, I think. I really cherish my time with her now, and I think she's really just amazing. And I feel glad that I'm capable of looking after her. That's also something I'm happy to do, and also I'm able to have the patience, and just everything about it's great. And then we met up with my brother-in-law just for a quick coffee because we're on the way back, and he doesn't get to see Olivia that much just because he's in sort of central London. He's also young. He's out doing his thing, right? And it's just great to catch up with him and again, him and Olivia just saying hello to each other and just keeping that fresh. I know what it's like to be an uncle, and it's a wonderful thing as much as it is to be a dad. So that was really nice. So I'm exhausted, to be perfectly honest. I don't know how a 2-year-old has run me ragged, but I am definitely knackered. But I've just had the most wonderful 2 days. It's
Nice.
a real fun dad thing. The one thing I was going to touch on was it's amazing. It's it actually is amazing. I didn't realize how impactful it is. That if you, the parent, and especially if we single it down to a dad, if you bring the energy, like if you kind of just do that thing where I was like, oh, look at those tusks, oh, they're amazing at the woolly mammoth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's incredible how they then react for most of the day.
Yeah.
It's a real. Do you find that?
You're right. If you're having a down day and you're a bit miserable, then your kids will definitely kind of feel it and not be as energetic. But if you wake up, bounce out of bed, and go and start the day with, I don't know, loud music and a dance and just get things going, then yeah, you definitely notice a difference in the energy, and the kids will bounce off you.
Yeah, it is like you're the commander in chief of basically how happy or sad they can be.
Yeah.
And I think there's something about that with an adult as well, to some extent. Like, obviously, I'm not looking for a friggin' someone jumping around doing stuff, right? But there is a little bit of that. Energy is infectious.
Yeah.
And I just found that the whole experience of going to the Natural History Museum, if I didn't really engage with her, if I didn't really if I just sat on my phone, or if I was just kind of walking around with her, it would have been a very, very different experience for her.
Yeah.
You should.
I was going to say, I find it really sad when you're out somewhere, like a museum or a park or the bike park thing I was at, and you just see the parents sitting on a bench on their phones and their kids are just doing their own thing. I don't know, it doesn't sit with me, and it probably doesn't sit with the kids.
Yeah, it's hard because, at the same time we can sympathise, right? You've been in dark places when it's come to having kids and stuff, right? And even then we've all got our own problems.
Yeah, the kids don't realise.
No, they don't. And I think we're lucky that we don't have that kind of drama that's potentially in our lives, because that can really, that's not fun.
Yeah.
So maybe at some point that might happen to us, but yeah, I think it was just, I just wanted to remark on it and see if you agree. And I knew you probably would, but it was just that feeling where if I was excited about something, or if I wanted to get play with her or go run in or, jump in or whatever else, even at the simplest things, it just raised her kind of energy and her happiness so much so. And it was just an easy effect, right? It was just me being a bit silly or just playing around, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean. Just come back to a point you made about kind of the other people's lives and the things they go through. Do you ever feel that everything's just so good, something's got to happen soon.
Oh yeah, I actually get. It's a bit depressive, but I sometimes think I don't deserve this happiness.
Yeah, I definitely or I don't deserve the life I've got, or the thing I've built, or the family I've.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, when's
I
it
get
going to
that.
stop? When's the good life going to catch up? Or what's?
But I think this isn't the thing that we're considering here is that this isn't a heroin high.
No.
No, but if you think about what a heroin high is, it's an instantaneous acute ejection of euphoric high feeling.
I love you.
Oh, we've got an Isla going to bed while we're talking about drugs. So you get this euphoric high feeling from an acute thing, but then you get a huge downer, right? So it's this kind of big swell and this big drop, right? And you're just constantly hunting that. What I feel like is, certainly during this process of, I don't know, the 10, 12 years that I've lived in London, is it's just the trajectory's been like nice compounding interest that you get.
Yeah.
It's not like every single year has been this like incredible kind of like, oh my God, or 1 month's been like a lottery win or whatever else. For me, it's just been this kind of like slow and steady incremental gain of more and more happiness.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I think that's the difference. Like I think I'd be more worried, and I just think about that just because I don't know why. I've never really unpacked it, but I feel like it's not necessarily a swell, like it's going to fall off a cliff. Because how would that happen? Because even if someone died, Neil, that we loved, it's not like you're going to fall off a cliff, because it's not like you don't have anyone in your life. It's not like you don't have things to lean on to be able to make you happy. It's like it's not some sort of weird ending that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And even then, like even if I thought about death all the time, where I'm like, well, if I got cancer or I got Parkinson's, or if something really bad happened to me, or I lost my legs, lost my arms, I don't know. Like, would I be sad? Probably, because I'll miss out maybe on 25, 40 years worth of life. But then at the same time, you kind of got to look back and go, well, I did quite a lot.
Yeah. I've always,
Do you know what I mean?
I've always thought that. I've always been like, I don't know if I'm come to my end of my life, I will get 6 months to live. I definitely would look back and think,
great. Like I've had a great run.
Yeah.
Great run. And
I
I'll be
wonder if
sad.
is that a mentality thing?
I have no idea.
We'll go quite deep for a random chat, but
yeah, I don't know. And I, like I said, I haven't really unpacked it, to be perfectly honest, but I don't think I have a fear. I don't think I have a fear of falling off a cliff. And that's true. That's true to say. I don't think I'm scared of, when's it going to end? Because I don't think it is going to end. I just think something bad's going to happen at some point. I'm not waiting for it. It's going to happen, and I'm going to be sad about it.
Yeah.
But it's not. I'm not in a position where it's like I don't think I'm going to fall into a deep depression.
Yeah. I kind of echo that. I don't it doesn't keep me up at night. I don't worry about it and think what's around the corner. But I guess having that realization of something could get bad in a few months' time, and pondering it might help you during that rocky time.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I just sometimes I kind of go into that where I'm like, how do you get so happy? Or how do you deal with being happier than you thought you could ever be? How do you deal with that? Like, because even when I came back from traveling, I remember being particularly accomplished. I felt accomplished, but then I also felt gluttonous in my happiness. Like I was overly full.
Do you deserve it? Yeah.
Because I'd managed to complete this journey around the world with Laura, and she wanted to marry me, and I'd done it all, and I bought my own house, and I'd survived, and blah 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 blah. So I was very, very happy. And I was like, how could I be happier? And then I had Olivia.
Yeah.
and Olivia,
Came with
and we got married, and all those kind of things. And I'm like, it's there's just another dimension to it. It's like an onion. You just unpicked another section of it, right?
Yeah.
And kids naturally will continue to do that for you, right? They'll continue to be that onion where you unpack various different aspects of them, because they'll become more communicative. They'll lean on you for various things that they feel sad about or they want support with or happiness. And there's lots more self-development stuff that you can go through as an individual. Like there's, certainly in my recent 30s, it's kind of like I'm unpacking another level of my ability to bond and communicate with Laura for various reasons, and develop together and support her and yada yada. And it's like, I think there was a Stoic thing that Ryan Holiday talked about, where he talked about their journey of life. They become warriors, or they join the army, then they go into education, then they become politicians, so they help the community, then they become Stoics or philosophers.
Yeah, because they've got
and they go through that journey in life. And that feels like that's pretty cool way to live, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe
I definitely, the kind of self-development thing and on the journey together with your life partner, your husband or your wife, helps a lot and drives the kind of happiness I think we both have. It's like we're continually improving, we're continually challenging ourselves.
Together, yeah. I think that's, a life lived is a life shared.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, from a self-development thing, it certainly is that having that feedback and being able to change with them. That makes a successful relationship. But yeah, I think sometimes I think about being a bit too happy, but then again, it's like, well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think people's, like I was chatting to a friend that I was met last night, and we were talking about the people's, what is it? My mind's just gone absolutely blank. That's annoying.
Great. Do you want me to hum a like an elevator tune?
We think of things differently. Like an example might be appreciation and what people appreciate and invest in. Someone might invest in a brand new car. Other people might invest in themselves.
I feel like a lot of people justify things by using the word invest.
Invest. Yeah.
Like if you invest in a car, how many cars are actually like investing in you're going to make a return?
Oh, my head's just gone. It's so annoying. It's like your appreciation to things of if you get something new, what you think is worthwhile, what you think is...
Sure, it's great.
Yeah, what you appreciate. And what I'm getting at is I think our bar is quite low in terms of what our appreciation is for things. Like I think other people need that Lamborghini to feel happy or fulfilled. But I think our bucket isn't necessarily the material things. It's more the day-to-day things that fill that bucket, if you know what I mean. Like the nice coffee in the morning, the house over our head, the health for our family, that kind of thing drives us. Or drives me, certainly.
Sure.
Other people, I think, are more external, and that doesn't necessarily help with happiness.
Yeah, but then, there's something about me that I guess I decided that no matter how hard you try, you don't necessarily get the attention that you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can't dictate attention, right? If you can't just choose attention. You can't be like, hey, I want this type of attention. People give you attention for whatever reason they want to.
Yeah.
And I felt like I've never pushed for attention, or if I have and it's not succeeded, I'm like, whatever, I don't care. That's it. I'll do my own thing.
Yeah.
So the Lamborghinis or the fancy car or the jewelry or the big house or the marriage or the bags and the materialistic items, or even the holidays and the pictures and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of driven for attention, right? To show status or show position.
Yeah.
And if you're driven by that, whatever, right, sure. But if you'll soon realize that it doesn't garner attention.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
or the attention that you want.
The phrase, the kind of thing I was thinking of is like people value things differently. Is what we were talking about last night. Is like people value spending their money on things differently, and I think our values are pretty similar in terms of we value time with our friends, we value time with family. It doesn't have to. Like, I mean, you went to a museum that was free. I think other people.
Aye, but we've all but even then you spend 250 quid on a pair of trainers, Neil, to go running.
Yeah, I know, because that I valued that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so sometimes it's just stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that I'm not all about experiences and not material things. But yeah, I just think we're wired similar, and the rest of the people or some of the people are wired, and they're less happy because their value is on these higher material things that are not that achievable, or maybe are a quick fix.
Probably. I mean, it's go back to that 80-year-old. What would my 80-year-old self say to me?
Yeah.
You know, there's probably less about buying the car, but then again, you know, there's the stupid millennial saying of like I'd rather cry in my Ferrari. And there's some heating to that, you know. I'd quite like to cry in a Ferrari. You know, oh, I'm sad, but I'm driving my Z90. But equally, I still probably work towards those things because I want to feel that. You know, I want to feel like what it's like to have a Ferrari. I want to feel like, you know, there's nothing bad about. I like the feeling of wearing something nice.
Yeah.
Or buying something nice, you know. So I guess that's part of it. There was one last thing I was thinking about. I was talking to Laura about it yesterday. Is the very abrupt nature of responsibility when it comes to having a baby or having a kid, right? So you go from, you have some responsibilities, and generally they sort of revolve around yourself, right? You don't have to take care of your wife or your girlfriend, right? Your partner. You don't have to take care of them. You don't have to get them up in the morning. You have to dress them. You don't have to wash them. You don't have to take them to work or whatever else, right? You don't have to feed them. So you still you still just have to look after yourself, right? You just have to kind of get up, get clothes, put your clothes on, do whatever else. And even your bills and your mortgage and stuff, all that thing is just like, well, if I don't pay it, then it's on me, right? It's my fault.
Yeah.
But then suddenly, boom. Kid's born, wife's on maternity leave, there's limited maternity leave you get in, you are the sole provider.
Yeah.
That's hardcore, right? And I never acknowledged it during that time, but that's hardcore.
Yeah.
Like that's a burden on the shoulders that I don't think many men talk about, to be perfectly honest. No, they sit there and go, you just go to work, right? And you're like, shit, I've got to make money now.
Yeah. And that's probably a podcast in its own right, but I definitely know what you mean. You don't, at the time, you don't think about it. And I haven't really processed it, and I've been there 3 times, my responsibility has grown. You just kind of go into survival mode. You should be like, this is my role now. I need to own it.
Yeah. But that's a heavy burden, man. Like that's, you know, it's a lot more pressure than I think you consciously understand.
Yeah.
You know, you really do go into that. I certainly did. It was just, I went straight into the, like, I'm going to make this work. However we're able to do that. I'm going to go to work, take it seriously, do my job. Job's a good one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Roll up your sleeves.
And I feel more relief that Laura's gone back to work and she earns a good salary and she enjoys her job, and we've got a maternity package and all that kind of stuff. I feel I feel a little bit less on edge. And not that I recognise that edge, but there was one.
Yeah, I think
not that it's failed. Like, I haven't failed before, but then equally I was like, well, if this would be a bad time to fail.
Yeah, I've definitely been in the same boat with Rebecca not working for 7-8 years. Now she's passed her kind of exams and stuff. Her portfolio's almost finished. She's applying for, there's this like alumni graduate scheme run by banks where they'll fund half your salary and a company will fund half your salary to go into the junior graduate. So she's applying for that next week. And yeah, there's definitely, I can see some light, which is exciting. And I guess you just don't realize what you put yourself through, especially over 7-8 years, in the back of your head. Like, there is a cliff, and we haven't got there yet. But
But it's that there's like there's just a low end hum.
yeah, in the back of your brain.
You know, I've got to make this work. I've got to work. I've got to work. Got to get to, like, work is the priority.
Cost of living's going
I
up.
just think
I need to get a promotion. Need to
all that stuff. Like, it's on you, right? And the base of a lot of things comes down to money.
maybe that's what we can leave it as a bit of a cliffhanger. We should delve into that topic a bit more.
Cliffhanger. Ooh, you could find out in episode 92. Maybe we will, because my battery is also at 8% and I don't have a charging cable. So either way, that was a nice little chat, Neil. Quite enjoyed that. See, look, we should just not have pressure, right?
Yeah, well, maybe we've thought about a podcast idea as well.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's and I actually need to get in touch with the guy for the 100th episode. I keep procrastinating.
I don't even know who it
George.
is.
A guy called George, the Tin Man.
Oh yeah,
I'd love it if it was him. Just because I think we'd have a really interesting conversation. And obviously, Neil, you'd fly down to London for a consultancy thing for my business, right? 'Cause I need some help.
Craig listens to this.
Yeah. Well, you know, it would be Neil would be, you know, coming down. I'd obviously cover the flight cost, and because you're going to show me the project management software, and then you know, we can expense that through my business because it's obviously a tax deductible expense. But anyway, I've told everyone on the podcast, so who knows? It might come and chase me. Either way, that's not happening. By the way, just clarify. Hopefully I get that organised. That'd be quite nice. But yeah, thanks very much for tuning in to another episode of the Developing Dads podcast. If you are interested, Neil has still not posted any reels.
I've fallen out with Instagram. I think Instagram's flagged us as being like spammy or something because I scheduled 9 fucking reels. 9 reels.
As you can tell, Neil's really very upset about the amount of effort that he went into.
And Instagram's
it's all based on AI. And anyway, so he's going to have to manually post them. Imagine that. Imagine having to sit on the train or spend 5 minutes manually posting something. Who knows? But either way, you can go check us out on Developing Dads on Instagram. We also have YouTube, which I need to start sorting out and upload to. But the current schedule is pressure with work and all sorts of other bits and pieces. If you like us, give us a little review on the old Spotify. We're up to 10 5-star reviews, which I didn't even know 10 people even listen to this bloody podcast, Neil. So maybe we're at 10.5 listeners by this time. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone who tunes in and everyone mentions it when we don't actually upload something. We find it quite funny. And yeah, that's kind of it really, isn't it, Neil? Any more words of wisdom or
no? Tune in for
found things to talk about?
Episode 92, where we're going to delve into the hardships of pressures of being a dad.
Pressures of becoming a new dad. Yeah.
And the weight on your shoulders that you don't realise is on it. Yeah.
Wild. Right. Anyways, thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you or hear you or whatever denomination next time. See you later.
Goodbye.